leave it there? I can put you on, if you wanna rest your hand there, I can put this.
Oh, it's wrong? It's showing up on the camera?
No. But I mean, just in case if you move or something, so that should be able to pick you up. Testing 1 2.
Microphone check 1 2 1 2.
Make sure my phone is off. Okay. On August 20th, 1987. Can you please take us through that day, Mr. Faison?
That day, I think I was at my mom's house, and it must have been about 12:30, 11, maybe 11:30, 12 o'clock. I woke up in my room, in my mother's house, the back room. My girl Pat was in the house, too, at the time with my daughter. I think I walked to the bathroom and washed my face, washed up, went played in the living room with my daughter for a few minutes before I left out. And when I was ready to leave, she started crying really, really, really hard. Like, you know, she ain't never do this before. Usually I just give her a kiss, I see you later, and it'd be all good. But this day she was like crying to the point where I had to act like I was gonna stay and play with her, and walked around one way to where the bathroom is, and then when her attention left, I snuck out the house. You know, I remember that. And I went, you know, usually I go right outside. It was a hot day, real hot that day. It was like 104 degrees, I believe, that day. And kids all in front of my mother's building, as usual. And ice cream truck pull up, I'll never forget. They all run into the ice cream truck. I think I gave the ice cream truck dude $100 and told him to give everybody some ice cream. And I walked down the block and got in my car and drove to the location where we hung out at, where I had a store at called First Base. And these cats pulled up, you know, talking shit, you know, neighborhood dudes, hustlers. So, nigga, let's get your crew. My crew gets your crew. 5,000 a game. Nigga, let's go right now. You know, talking shit. I bet. I think my brother and my man Charlie said, we gonna play out. So we went to the east side. I think 128th Street. In Lexington. To this park over there. The Lexington, yeah. 128th in Lexington. We played like the whole bunch of cats from Harlem. A lot of hustlers was there watching the game. 3-on-3, serious. They beat us the first time. The game was really tight, and my man was like, you know, run it back. And then, you know, we really played game 2 because we was bullshitting first games, and we said, oh, these niggas trying to beat us. And they was older cats than us. We said, let's go to work. And we bust their ass the second game. And my man Charlie, they wanted to run it back. But my man Charlie, you know, I never seen him act this way. He was a good dude, funny type of dude. My man, love him to death, but he wasn't the type of dude that be fighting and fussing. But he was on some shit this day. Like, man, fuck these niggas. They trying to play us, man. Fuck them niggas. We ain't gotta play them dudes. He was like really cursing. I was like, calm down, man. Relax, man. He's like, man, fuck these niggas. We ain't playing them. They cheating, man. And he walked out the park. I said, fuck it, we ain't gonna play no more. And we left. But I was sweating bullets that day from playing so hard. And it was hot outside that I didn't want to get in my car to drive it back because I didn't want the sweat to get on my car. It was a brand new 735 BMW. And I told my man, drive the car back to the block. And we walked back to the block. You know, me and some other cats. And it was like when we walked from the east side, 128th and Lexington to 132nd and 7th, It seemed like every block we went to, it was a crowd. The crowd was getting bigger and bigger, following us to the location 132. When we got there, damn, there had to be about 300-400 people that was following us down the street. And I guess that was from our popularity, from what we was doing in the streets with getting money in the cars and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And when I got back to the block, I think my man Sherm was like, yo, hey, man, we ain't got no more work out here. All these fiends out here, nigga, you out there balling. I was like, word? When I looked around with mad heads on all sides of the street, like waiting for us to get some work. But I had to call up to the Bronx where my aunt was at to go get it and make sure, everything was there. I went to the corner's phone. I called, nobody picked up the phone. No one picked up the phone. And when I turned around, she pulled up in her friend's car. She was with her girlfriend. And she was like, I know you're looking for me. I'm on my way home now. I was out. I said, I'm coming right behind you. So, still sweaty and smelling, crazy and shit from playing ball. I told my man, yo, park the car. I'm going to jump in a cab and go up there and get what I need to get. And he's like, all right. So he parked the car. And me and my man Charlie was sitting on the stoop just for a minute, giving us some time to get there. And this girl walked up on me that I was trying to get with. She was 13 years old. Now, today I knew this, but at that time I thought she was 18 or 19 is what she told me. And I was 22 at the time. And she whispered something in my ear, I was like, word. And I was like, I bet fucking come with me for a minute, So we was going to hang out that night, basically. But,
was this your first time ever, seeing her?
No, I used to go talk to her all the time, but it was never like, we was going somewhere. But this night, she was like, I was looking for you all day. What's up? What's good? I was like, word? You know what I mean? So I said, bet. So I said, you could come with me, man. And me, her, and Charlie got in the car, got in the cab, and we rode up to the Bronx on 169th in the Grand Concourse. And when we got there, my aunt and her friend car was double parked right in front of the building with the blinkers still running. I said, okay, cool, they upstairs. So usually I would call up to the window so she could throw the key out the window. And so I called up, Joanne, and the keys came flying out the window. Instead of her leaning over and making sure, hey, and dropping the keys out the window, the keys just came flying out of the window. Then I said, man, that shit don't feel right. Something strange, man. And she was like, my man Charlie was like, yo, come on, man. Come on, ain't all them fiends out there. He wanted me to give him the work so he could go down there and make that quick $3,000-4,000 that was on, I was like, come on, man. I said, something ain't right. And then the girl that I was with, she like, I gotta use the bathroom. But my first thoughts was like, damn, man, go to the phone and call upstairs and make sure everything is all right. And when all this happened, I said, all right, fuck it, let's go. We went upstairs, and when I went upstairs, got on the elevator, pushed the 3rd floor, and as soon as we opened up the doors, 2 dudes rushed off the staircase, and someone opened up the door and grabbed me, and they pushed me inside on the floor. She had a sunken living room, so they pushed me on the floor and took Charlie and the girl, and I'm in the back room, and they had me on the floor. So
it was people in the staircase already behind you? Or
yeah, it's 2 dudes on the staircase.
And as you opened the door?
When I went to knock on the door came open and flying fast, and the dude had the gun, and he pulled me in. And they pushed the rest of them in with us, and they pushed me in the living room in the it was like a sunken living room. Pushed me down the 3 little steps and took them in the back room, and they pulled out the safe, which I had in the house. It was like, it's demanded for me to open up the safe.
So now what was going through your mind at that point?
At that point, I felt like, damn. I thought it was a joke, at first, somebody playing, but listening to his voice, the safe. Kept saying, open up the safe, nigga. Open up the fucking safe. You know what this is, nigga. You did me wrong. You did me wrong. That's what he kept saying. So when I caught on to his voice, I knew who he was. I said, yo, Kev, why you doing this? And he was like, don't say my name no fucking more, man. Then he hit me with the gun. Boom. Open up the safe, nigga. So now blood comes trickling down my face. And I was like, yo, Kev, what you doing, man? Then he had a ski mask on, or not a ski mask, but like a stocking cap. He took that off. I was like, man, fuck that, man. Open up the safe. You did me wrong, nigga. So now I'm trying to open up the safe. But I couldn't. Because, you got to be precise when you opening up a safe. You know, if you go past it once, you got to start all over again. You feel me? But, man, I'm kind of nervous in that situation. And it took some time. I couldn't open it. But it was really nothing in the safe. It might have been like, the most that could have been in that safe might have been like $35,000 or $40,000, and maybe like, I don't even think I had that much work left at the time. It might have been like about 150 grams, 125 grams, the eighth left or whatever, in that safe. But I couldn't open it to save my life. And they got kind of mad, and I saw them getting mad. And then Cav told one of the dudes, yo, take him in the room and do what you got to do. So when he took me in the room, one of the cats took me in the room, I started talking to him like, look, man, ain't no money in the safe, man. But I got like about $250,000 cash at my crib in Jersey. If you take me there and don't hurt nobody, I'll give you all the money, bro. Just leave everybody alone. You know, some dude had the pillow on top of my head and had the gun cocked to my head, about to pull the trigger. And then he said, get up. Then he got up and told Kev, he said, all right, fuck it. We're going to take him. So he said, you can't leave out here like this. You know, mess yourself up, blood all on me. I said, wow. And he took me in the bathroom. I had on a white T-shirt. They took the T-shirt off of me. One of the cats took off his shirt. They put this on, wash my face. And then Joanne, my aunt, and her friend, Joanne started yelling, just give them what they want. Just open up the safe. Just give them everything. Jimmy, don't do this. Like, start yelling. And I was like, man, damn, just be quiet. Like, and then the dude Kev, he's like, he told the other two cats to go in there and shut them the fuck up. So I heard the radio going loud first. They put the stereo on real loud, and I heard gunshots. And I just, trying to reach for Kev, because he was standing in front of me as I'm washing my face off in the bathroom with a Uzi. And it just made me reach for him. Like, man, fuck that. Like, in that moment, I got to fight for my life right now. You feel me? And I grabbed him. I was wrestling with him for a split second. And then one of the cats came right out of the room and aimed the gun right to my forehead. And I watched him pull the trigger. And I just heard the sound. I didn't feel anything. That's when my spirit left the body. And I started floating up into this big bright light, and all I kept hearing was this sound. And as I was getting higher and higher into this light that I was afraid of, but once I became one in that light, I just felt totally alive. Like, you know what I mean? I felt like, wow. It was fear first, and then it became like an ultimate love, but I didn't know where I was at. And I just felt like I was in the presence of God, and I said, God, please, I don't want to die. And that's when my body began to float back down. And when I came back into my body that was on the bathroom floor, it was shot up. I was shot twice in the head, once in the neck, once in the hand, and 5 times in the leg. I got up off the bathroom floor, went into the bedroom, and started calling names. Everybody was shot, nobody was responding, and I felt guilty. I was like, damn, everybody's dead, and I felt like it was all my fault. Then I just jumped in the bed, and I put the covers over me because if everybody's dead, I just wanted to die too. I didn't want to live. I felt guilty, like these people came to rob me and they killed everybody. My man Joanne, Charlie, the girl that was with me, and I think Joanne had another friend that was with her, another guy. So it was all left for dead. And I put the cover on me and tried to go to sleep, man. Next thing you know, when I did wake up again, I was in the hospital. And when I came through, the doctors were smacking me and asking me, who did this to you? Who did this to you? Who did this to you? My mother was like, Junior, who did this to you? And I think I told my mother, I said, oh, Kevin. She was like, who? I was like, Kevin Clark, man. Kevin Clark, Pa boyfriend. And then she was like, that motherfucker, whatever. And that's when I think the detectives came in the room, the detectives and the DA, but they was dressed in doctor's uniforms, and they was like, they told the doctor we need to speak with him for 5 minutes, and I think the doctor told him I don't think he had 5 minutes. And it was basically, he said, well, I think the detectives and the cops, the detectives and the DA, I think it was, they told him, well, we need these 5 minutes. So the doctor left and left me in the room with them alone. They pulled out a tape recorder, put it on my chest, and they said, we're going to put this tape recorder on your chest. We need to record this. I think they called it a dying declaration or whatever they called it, labeled it. And they started asking me questions about, was I present at 1295, the Grand Concourse, at 1226, whatever time it was when it took place. Everybody in the apartment is dead. You're the only one alive that can help us bring these people to justice. This is a bloodbath. Who shot you? And I said it was Kevin Clark. They asked me, did he act alone? I said no, it was two others. Do you know the other two guys? I was like, no, I never seen them before. Then they hit you with, you know what this is? I said a pin. Who's the president? I think I said Ronald Reagan. I'm not sure at the time. Whatever it was, they needed to verify that I was alert and I was in my right state of mind. And I think I answered all the questions finally. But I just felt like they was asking me so much to the point where I was kind of nervous. Like, come on, I only got 5 minutes, so I'm answering the questions as quick as possible so that they can leave, so that the doctors could come back in the room and save my life. You understand? But my spirit, it seemed like my spirit left my body again, but it didn't. It was like hovering in the hospital, and I seen them asking my body questions, but my body wasn't responding no more. So my eyes was closed, and one of them grabbed my pulse and took my pulse and said, he's done. And then they took the tape recorder off me and put a sheet over my head and walked out the room. And as they walked out, my spirit went back into my body, and the doctor came in and grabbed my pulse, and he was like, you okay? I shook my head, yes. And they rushed me, and they started ripping my clothes off of me and putting a tube down on me, whatever they had to do to save my life, brother. That's what I recall that day. You know what I mean? August 20th, 1987.
So, now let's go back to, how would you say, from a spiritual standpoint, now looking back at it.
Now, that day is very, very deep to me because I feel like it was all the work of God. It might have been a tragical day. A lot of people lost their lives. But waking up,
Sit up.
waking up to a divine calling and recognizing the hand of God in the situation, it made me see everything for what it's worth. Because when I got shot, my spirit went into this light. But the light was in the shape of a cross that I had never seen before, until I started investigating, God and, understanding the Bible and really looking into things. And I found out that to be the Ankh, what they call it, the Ankh. And a situation had took place with me when I was 9 years old. And something that I ran from when I was 9 had came to save my life when I was 22.
Can you explain that? What happened at 9?
When I was 9 years old, I used to pack bags at the local supermarket on 145th and Broadway. I think it was called Food Pageant. It's where Dwayne Reed's is now on 145th and Broadway. I used to go there every day after school, pack bags, make $2 or $3. If I made $2, I would give my mother $1.50 and I would keep the 50 cents. Try to help ends meet within the family. But I remember this day, I think it was August 31st. It was Halloween Eve. No, October 31st. Let me get that right. October 31st. Halloween Eve. Or October 30th. Halloween is on the 31st, right? Of October. Let me just make sure I'm not saying it. It was Halloween Eve. Halloween was the next day. And what happened was, I was packing bags, and I asked the lady that I was packing bags for, can I leave early because I wanted to go home and see The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. The kids, you feel me? Being a kid, I was only 9 years old. And she was like, all right, no problem. She said, go in the back and grab some candy for your sisters and brothers on me and enjoy your evening. I said, okay. I went in the back, grabbed some candy, and I said, I'm leaving, Miss Evelyn. She said, okay. So I would ran down the hill home fast as possible because I didn't want to miss none of Charlie Brown. When you're a kid, cartoon coming on at night, that was like, you know what I mean? On a weekday. Okay.
Yeah, this part right here is going to be deep. Okay, I'll count you down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you went back to watch Charlie Brown?
Yeah, it was on a weekday, so I made it inside the house. My sisters and brothers and we all sitting around. They all sitting around the TV waiting for Charlie Brown to come on. I sit down, take out the candy, everybody take some, and we waiting for it to come on. The commercials on TV, now it's about to start. Just waiting for the commercials. So my mother walked in the room. She's like, Junior, before you get comfortable, why don't you run to the store across the street and get a loaf of bread so I can make y'all some sandwiches before y'all go to sleep tonight. So me not wanting to miss none of Charlie Brown, I just got finished packing bags. Bread only cost me 25 cents back then a loaf. I had the money in my pocket. I didn't even wait for her to give me the money. I just jumped up, ran out the house as fast as possible, trying to outrun the commercial. I run across the street, grab the bread out the store, put the money on the counter, and run out the door. Now, when I ran out the house, it was nighttime. When I ran out the store, it was daytime. So it made me stop in my tracks with this loaf of bread. Like, yo, where the fuck am I at? It seemed like everything vanished, man. No stores, no cars, no nothing. My building was nowhere in sight. It's just me standing there, and the ground seemed like it turned to sand. And I'm just standing there by myself with a loaf of bread. And when I looked up, I seen the sun shining real bright and a cross that I never seen before. And it was mad close, bright. And it made me take off running because I could see my house maybe like about a mile away. So I started running to this building in the sand. But as soon as I'm running, every footstep that I took, it felt like it was a footstep right behind me, mad loud, like boom, 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 till it felt like it was right up on top of me. When I stopped and I turned around and looked, the sun in the shape of the cross was like hovering right on top of me, like, you know what I mean? But I was scared. But I took off running again to the building. Boom, 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 it's right behind me. But I didn't turn around this time. I just grabbed the door and went inside the building. When I went inside, it was like nothing never took place. I went right to my door, my mother's door. She opened up the door. She yelling and screaming at me. Where the fuck you been at? I sent your sisters and brothers out there looking for you. Nobody ain't seen you. Where the fuck was you at? I'm saying, Mom, come on. You gonna make me miss Charlie Brown? I'm thinking she playing. Move. Here's the bread. I went to the store and came back. Motherfucker, she snatched the bread. You gonna tell me where you been? Because this is not like you. I'm a good kid at the time. I ain't never do nothing wrong. She crying and said, this ain't you. You know what time it is? Come on. It's 12 o'clock at night. 12 o'clock? Go in your room. You gonna tell me the fuck you? Your father gonna whip your ass when he come from work tomorrow. So now I go in my room. I sit on the bed. In deep thought, I'm like, man, I'm the only one that try to help pack bags and do this. If I make $2, I give you 50 cents. Why you doing this to me? I want to watch Charlie Brown. I'm still thinking like, you know. And at that moment, something knocked on my window. Boom, boom, boom. I'm like, I moved the curtain back. Sun and that cross, like hovering at the window. Made me jump back, jump under the covers, like, what the fuck? Now, my pops come in the room. Get up, you know what time it is? 6 o'clock in the morning. Y'all just laid down. What are you gonna get your ass? We're gonna get your fucking clothes on and get ready to go to school, man. When I come from work, you gonna tell me where you been at. This ain't like you. I'm like, wow. So now I'm in the days like, what's going on? I go to school. It's Halloween now. Whatever the teacher talking about, my mind is somewhere else. I can't even focus. Bell ring, time to go home. Now on my mind, they gonna give me. I'm about to get a whooping because Mom, don't go back this evening. You come straight home. Now my mind is like, I don't want to go home. I didn't do anything. This is my thought process. I'm gonna run away. I ain't going home. So instead of me coming straight down 46th Street, I walked to 145th Street and walked down the hill because I said I'm gonna get on the train and just ride the train. I sat on the cat and dog hospital steps thinking about it. I put my books on the stoop. I said, I'm gonna run away. Sun beamed on me. A thought came in my mind. You better go home, or they're gonna really think something you out there doing something. And I was like, wow. So I picked up my book bag. Underneath my book bag was mad food stamps. I was like, wow. I picked up the food stamps, so now I got something maybe to ease the ass whipping. Look, Mom, when I get home, look, Mom, look what I found. She looked at these food stamps, about $800 worth of food stamps. So now she really bugging. Oh, God, no. Don't tell me you out there robbing still. Oh, Junior, please, you don't have to do this. I said, Mom, I found it. Oh, God, I'm just flipping. I had to, like, yell. I don't know where this voice came. I was like, Mom, I found it. And then she looked at me, and I don't know what she saw. She said, I believe you. So Halloween had became Thanksgiving for us because we never had food like steaks and all type of shit. In that moment, we went shopping. And
Okay. So wow. So you didn't see a food stamp before you put your book back down.
I didn't see anything.
You put your book back down, and when you picked it up.
I picked it up. They talked about that in the movie Paid in Full too. Because I had wrote it in a screenplay, but we'll discuss that later.
Wow, it's deep.
Yeah, so to make a long story short, when I got shot in '87, that cross that I was running from, when I got shot, my spirit went into that cross, into that light. And when I woke up in the hospital, after they did all the, whatever, took the bullets out under the anesthesia, the first thing that came into focus when I was in the recovery room, the first thing that came into focus that I saw with my eyes was the room number on the hospital door. And the room number was 126. And it stayed focused. It's like stamped in my mind. Like, my brain was clean, and that was the only thing in my mind. 126, 126. So I stayed in the hospital, I think I was in the hospital for about a good 15 days, more or less. But when I got out of the hospital, it was Lincoln Hospital. Every time I stood up, the spinal cord fluid would leak out my nose. So they didn't really do a good job at the hospital, but they did, remove the bullets. They had cut my head open from ear to ear, pulled down my face to get the bullets out. But they didn't cut my hair down. They just sewed it up with my hair, so all that was becoming infected. So what happened was I had a lawyer that I love to this day, Mr. Goldberg, peace. I had called him. I said, Jack, man, I'm fucked up, man. I need a good doctor, man. I'm still feeling kind of fucked up. Every time I stand up, man, fluid is leaking from my nose. He said, man, we got to get you to a real hospital. This is what he said to me. He said, let me make a phone call. I guess he had a friend that was a doctor, a head doctor at Mount Sinai Hospital, and he told me they're going to come get you in the ambulance and get your bed in the hospital, and we're going to get you right. So they got me over there. They did the whole operation over. They shaved my head down, all that. I had ammonia, all type of stuff. And they basically, saved my life, man. And being honest, when I was at Lincoln Hospital, take you back to Lincoln, after they did the operation, they had me, when I woke up one day, when I was in the recovery, after the recovery room, they had me in there. I had woke up in the middle of the night one day, and I was in this room that was mad cold and shit. Freezing cold. And this dude was in there, I think he was mopping or sweeping up. And he jumped. When I woke up, like, yo. He's like, yo, man, you in the morgue and shit. I was like, what? I said, yo, man. He said, yo. Then he went out, he called someone, and they took me out of the room and got me in the bed. And I had called my mom, and I said, y'all got to get me out of here. And that's when they got me out of there. That's when I went home, and that's when spinal cord fluid still was leaking on me, and blah, 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 blah. And after that, that's when I made the phone call to Jack, and he got me in that situation. And I wound up staying in Mount Sinai Hospital for about 30 days. And I got up out of there, and after that, I just wanted to know where I went that night, man, and I just wanted to know because I understood flesh and spirit now, but I wanted to know about God because I really felt the presence of God, man, that night. And after I asked my mother questions about the Bible, Mom, when was Jesus born? I wanted to know. She said, in Luke 126 he was born. I was like, 126? That was the same room number.
Man, wow. Never knew that.
Huh?
Never knew that. Wow.
Yeah.
Switch part. Got about 10 minutes. It's all right. So your mother said.
Yeah, I asked my mother, when was Jesus born? She said, you got to look in the Bible. I think it's Luke 126. And I said, 126? I was like, that's the same room, recovery room number. So I look in the Bible. First thing I go to Genesis, because that's the beginning of the Bible. I said, Genesis 126. It said, let us make man in the image of God. Then I go to when she told me, Luke 126. It says, this is when the angel Gabriel came to Mary on the 6th month, on the 21st day, and told her she was highly favored, and she was having a son of God, which was to be named Jesus. So I said, wow, 6th month, 21st day, that's 126 too, but turned around. But 621 represents the first day of summer. And I said, yo, I went to the sun. I said, yo, the sun is God, man. My mind just started saying the sun is God. And then my mind started saying, this book ain't nothing but a lie to say that Jesus represents the Son of God, which is the sun that shines in the sky every day. And then it made me just start thinking about 126. Then I start comparing 126 because I'm named after my father, AZIE FAISON. So to me, he's the real 126 because AZ is 126 in numbers, the beginning of the alphabet, and Z is the 26th letter of the alphabet. So I'm like, damn, God knew exactly where I was before me to get shot. In the recovery room is 126. It's like saying AZ's in this room right here. This is my mind, how I'm thinking. You know, it's my own philosophy. Take it or leave it for what it's worth. But Pat was my girl at the time, Patricia Porter, which was the mother of my firstborn child, Laurel Faison. Her birthday is 6/12. That's 126 again. And my daughter was born on 127th, my firstborn, Laurel. And but I look further. The L is the 12th letter, and the F is the 26th letter. I mean, the F is the 6th letter. So that's 126 again. So the building that I lived in on St. Nicholas, we lived in 723 St. Nicholas. A 7 and a 2 is 9, plus 3 equals 12, and we lived in apartment 6. It was 126 again. So I'm saying all this 126 is starting to like make sense. So one day I'm alone in spirit. My spirit come out of my body talking to me like saying, listen, pick up a pen. I want to show you something. I pick up a pen. Multiply 360 times the age you will be when the year 2000 arrived. Now, we wasn't even in 2000 yet. This might happen, like 89 when I came into this thought. So I said, okay, I'll be 35 years old when the year 2000 arrived. 35 times 360. So I questioned, why 360? Because 360 completes the circle. You feel me? If you put 30 days in each month, which is supposed to be, that would be 360 days in a year. They put 365 to keep you off balance from being and knowing who you are. So I want to let you know, the Spirit was saying, I want to let you know who you are in God's time, how old you would be when the year 2000 arrived. So I put 360 times 35, and it came out to be 12,600 days old. That was 126 again. I was like, wow, man. What's all this 126 stuff? I think it was 2007, they wanted me to speak to the youth in D.C. and Baltimore at a place called Peaceaholics. And I'm out there with my man, and we building. And we went to lunch before the things happened. And I'm letting them know how I felt about, the spirit world and the flesh world. And he's a Muslim brother, follow Minister Farrakhan, deep in the game with that. He was like, yo, come on, man, we got to go, man. We running late. I said, what time is it? He looked at his watch, and it was like 1:26 I was like, yo, see what I'm talking about? So I'm saying this to say this. After we did that, it was a good meeting, good turnout. Years later, he called me. He was like, yo, man, you see what happened in Chile? I said, what happened in Chile? He said, there's an earthquake in Chile. I said, what you mean? He said, there's an earthquake in Chile that shifted the poles on the earth. And it shortened the days 1.26 milliseconds. I said, what? He said, man, that 126 thing is serious, man, that you're talking about, man. I was like, wow, that's deep, man. And it just made me start seeing a lot of things start adding up to 126. When I went to Rockefeller, when I was shopping the screenplay that I wrote, which was entitled Trap, which you know to be paid in full now, they had an office down on John Street. And their suite number was 126. So when I arrived there, I was like, wow, this is going to be done. I knew it. And now, it was done. And who's the head person? Really the head person that anchored Rockefeller to be Rockefeller is Jay-Z. Jay-Z, the J is the 10th letter, and the Z is the 26th letter. So that's 126 again. You feel me? So the 126 start, that's letting me know a lot of things. One day, it's so much stuff dealing with the 126. But to me, it really leads back to being the sun is God. And we are the children of the sun. Under someone else's law, but this prophecy of 126, which nobody can deny, it's something deep within the matrix of all that's happening to prove a point that makes me see things from a whole nother perspective when I look at it from the spirit and not the flesh world, because the flesh world is many. It's many lies. It's many worlds in the flesh world, but in the spirit world, everything is one. You feel me? And that's God's world to me. And all the flesh world is against God's world, trying their best to survive, frozen in time. Because the sun is time. I am. If everything went my way, it will be the way it's supposed to be in the kingdom of heaven. By going against me, it's creating a whole bunch of lies. I don't know if that makes sense, but to me, after my experience and what I see and what I could prove with some divine evidence dealing with the 126, it's a fact, man. It's a fact. And I believe our generation was the divine generation that came to do what we came to do, but to change the world for the greater good, because I believe global warming is the return of God's kingdom. And it's happening. And they're trying to prevent it from happening. The powers that be trying to keep it the way it was. But there's no weapon formed against the sun that could prosper. And it's happening. And I want to prove it to people.
I got a question for you. Remember you talked about going back to the 20th, 87, August 80, that you had came across somebody that knew one of the dudes that said about the door being closed. Can you talk about that?
All right. I think it was 2000. It might have been 2007 or 2009. A friend of mine named Craig. Now, mind you, Craig was with us when we was young, but Craig used to make a lot of money selling drugs. Then he wound up getting hooked on the drugs. Then he wound up smoking, and he wound up going to jail. So Craig went through all that stuff. So when he had got out of jail, he came to me. He was like, hey, man, all I want you to do is give me $500. And I'm going to California, I'm going to Bible school, and then we're going to get my life right. So I went right in my pocket, gave him $500, and he left. Next time I seen Craig had a brand new car. He showed me pictures of him. He had his own church. O.J. Simpson at his church. President Clinton come to his church. His church was off the hook. And then the next time I see Craig, after that, after he left, he came back. He said it was problems. They tried to set him up. They tried to make it seem like he was soliciting prostitutes and all that, man. So Craig came back to the streets. Then he got locked up again. So I didn't see him to this day, like in 2007. He come up to me, I'm sitting on the stoop on 47th and St. Nick. Yo, what up, hey? I said, what's good, Craig? He said, man, let me holler at you, man. He said, I was locked up with one of the dudes that shot you. I think the cat name was Ronald Timmons. He was like, man, I want to holler at you, man. I know that's your man, AZ, man. But let's let him know that he's blessed. And whatever he do from this point on, make sure he's doing it for God. Because that night, when we did that to him, I felt that we should have went back in there and made sure that he was dead. You understand? So when I turned around to open up the door to go back inside to put some more bullets in him, he said it must have been a gust of wind or something that closed the door and locked it. I know that was God, man. This is what Craig came and told me. Now, this is the real part about that. So I had a phone, but my phone was off when he had told me that. It wasn't off, but it had died. But when I went home that night and charged it, that same night that Craig told me that in 2007 was August 20th, 2007. So I know this was God sending a message to me, saying this is God, and for me to deliver this message to the people. That the Son is God, man. That the Son is God and is real, and we are the people of God, and we are under attack. We are under attack. You know, and the people that shot me, I understand now why I got shot. It was a very tragic day. But dealing with my name, AZ, and 126, this story is divine, man. This story is divine. Now, right across from where I lived at is this building, which is 726 St. Nicholas. I lived at 723. But right across, directly across the street from where my mother lived at, is a building, and it got 2 ankhs on the window, these crosses. And the woman that lived there, I think her name is Mary, and she got 2 kids named Asar and Aset, named after the Egyptians, right? And on the top of her house is like a pyramid. And I used to sit on that stoop sometime, you know what I mean, in deep thought. And I used to always see this star right on top of the pyramid of her building. And now, mind you, my man name was Rich Porter. A lot of people know his story, what happened to him. But his birthday is 726. You understand what I'm trying to say? How it's all connected in so many ways. But this is what I see. To tell somebody this, they might think I'm talking crazy. But this is the real story that I wanted to tell the people. Yo.
You want me to come or you good?